I'm glad we're getting the chemicals out of the food, but the next step has got to be clothing. A lot of people, if not most people, are aware about the chemicals in the food. A lot fewer people are aware about how harmful their clothes are to them. And the problem is here, honestly, the clothing might be more harmful to you than the chemicals in the food. Yeah, that's correct. So just for you guys, I've compiled a list, and by compiled a list, I mean taking a quick screenshot of some fabric materials on Google. And we'll go through and talk about the different chemicals in the clothing and see what is good for you and what is not. And so here's the list. Obviously, first up on the list, cotton. We all know it. We love it. It's everywhere. This is one of the better materials for you, obviously. There are some debates on where the cotton is sourced and how it is manufactured, whether it's always safe, especially with some of these synthetic dyes that are used in the material as well. But for the most part, generally speaking, cotton is mostly safe. Next on the list is linen. Again, a natural material. That's all good there. Silk is a good natural material. Polyester. This is the first one on this list that's a big red flag. Guys, ladies, anyone really, if you have specifically undergarments made out of polyester, I'm telling you right now, throw them out. Throw them out. This is one of the biggest clothing materials that has carcinogenic qualities to it. And so if you are still wearing polyester boxer briefs, polyester bras, anything like that, throw it out. This is one of the worst things you could wear on your body. Because here's the thing, I also did a video about this last year. Polyester is made out of polyurethane, which is oil. This is made out of plastic and oil. So when you put this on your body, you are wearing the same material that goes into your car. It's the same material. So yeah, basically all you need to know is just stay away from polyester. Next, wool. Don't have a problem with it. This is one of the best materials you can wear, possibly even better than cotton. Of course, if you have a wool allergy, don't. Basically, you'll know when you know if you put on wool and your skin starts to get rashy. Not ideal for you. Stick to cotton or linen or silk. I know silk is more expensive, but cotton is, any of those are still good. Wool is one of the best ones, though. These next two, chiffon leather, I'm not really worried about. Chiffon because you don't really see it a whole lot, and leather because it's not really in contact with the majority of your skin. It's usually for leather jackets, and you're usually wearing something else underneath that. So I'm not going to worry about those. But nylon, however, you might not know this, but nylon is just as bad as the polymaterials because it is a polymaterial, it's just with a different name. Nylon and polyamide, I believe, don't take my word for granted here, but nylon and polyamide are basically the same thing, if not very, very similar. So yeah, it's just as bad as the polymaterials. It's the same plastic, oil, junk. Up here at the top of the next page, jersey. Not actually a fabric material. This is a type of weaving. So it's actually how the fabric is woven. It's not an actual material. You can make it with any of these materials that are listed here. Rayon is the next one on the list. This is probably not as good for your skin as cotton or wool or the natural fibers, but it's certainly not as bad as the poly materials. Rayon, so the way rayon is made is it's actually tree pulp. So what they'll do is they'll grind up the tree, make the pulp like you would paper, and then you heat it up to a high temperature. It gets kind of melty, and then you make a fabric with it. So is it natural? Semi. It's like semi-natural, semi-man-made, because it is tree pulp. However, the way it's chemically processed, it's still not the best for you. But like I said, still better than the plastic-made polyester and poly materials. Next on the list, spandex. Again, you don't typically see this across, used for the entire material for something. Normally, it's a mixture with something. In the case of spandex mixed with another material, again, it's okay for you. It's certainly better. But again, not the best thing for your skin. Again here, flannel is a type of fabric, not a material. It's usually made out of cotton and or wool or a blend. Next we have lyocell. Now lyocell, despite the name, despite it sounding like a pretty bad man-made material, it's actually in the same category as rayon. It is manufactured by tree pulp, except it's better because it's actually made through a natural process. So lyocell is, again, also tree pulp, but it is naturally either nitrated, that word, or oxidized. So yeah, this is rayon, but slightly better for you. And then organza, again, not a material you're actually going to wear on your body. Now bamboo, you'll normally see it show up as either it'll say rayon from bamboo, because sometimes rayon is made with bamboo, or it'll be viscose. Viscose is the other time you'll usually see bamboo if it's not already called bamboo. Now again, this is a material that is probably not as good as cotton, wool, silk, the natural materials, but it's certainly better than the poly materials. The real problem, again, is that it's chemically processed. However, it is still a natural fiber. It's just that it's gone through this chemical process. So again, if you see viscose, and I will say viscose tends to be a cheaper material. So if you're looking for clothing that won't break the budget, viscose is probably your best bet. Try to stay away from polyester or any of the polyfibers, acrylic included. That's another fabric that doesn't go by one of the poly names, but acrylic is also a poly material made out of the same oil and plastic gunk. And then down here we have cashmere. Cashmere is a type of wool. It's probably the most expensive type of wool you will see, but as somebody who just recently thrifted a cashmere sweater for the first time, whoo, honey, there's a reason it's that expensive. Oh, it feels like butter. It's so... Because I know a lot of people think that, wool is a good material for you, but it's scratchy. Not if you get the right kind. Merino wool tends to be pretty soft. Cashmere, though, is definitely the softest, and there's a reason it comes with a price tag. But again, all natural fiber. And again, you'll sometimes see wool by different names. It's just different types of wool. Like I said, sometimes you'll see merino. Sometimes you'll see Shetland, which is another type of wool. It's usually more coarse, though, and not as smooth on the skin. And then, again, cashmere is probably the highest tier of wool, if you will. And then there's corduroy. Corduroy, again, usually either cotton, the good kind, or polyester, the bad kind. Just check the tags. So yeah, there you have it. There's a list of probably some of the most common clothing materials that you'll come across. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands exactly what they are, how they're processed, and what's good for you and what's bad for you. I feel like it's always better to try to better yourself and educate yourself every single day with just a little bit more new information. And so, like I said at the beginning, it's great that we're pushing this Make America Healthy again and getting the chemicals out of food. Now we just have to do the same with the clothing. And so, as somebody myself who I'm trying to push myself towards more natural fibers, specifically wools, because I wear a lot of sweaters, a little bit every day just to get yourself to a better position with better materials. So yeah, there's your short list. Hope it helps you out. I see a lot of comments on my natural fibers video from people talking about, well, how do I not pay an arm and a leg on natural fiber clothing? I just want to show you today that it can be done. Here's how. I'd like to preface this video with two things though. First, number one, I am a thrifter. You may be a thrifter as well. But obviously if you look at my page, a lot of what I wear is like thrifted sweaters. Poshmark and Depop are my best friends. So that's what I'm going to use as a basis for the majority of this video. But also, number two, we may have different price points for what we consider an arm and a leg. So I'm going to tell you my basic rule. For cotton, I try to stay under 30. For wool, I try to stay under 40. And for mixed fibers, also under 30. So say like cotton acrylic blend or cotton polyester blend or wool polyester blend, whatever. I also try to stay under 30. That does not include shipping because I do know shipping can be a little pricey on these sites. But that's my basic rule. And when I say that, that's all also for sweaters. For shirts, it's a little bit different. For pants, it's a little bit different. But mostly what I'm buying from these sites is sweaters. So under 30 for cotton, under 30 for blends, and under 40 for wool. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and show you that it can be done. Now, firstly, especially on Poshmark, if you are mostly concerned about price, don't forget to first sort low to high price-wise. And then you'll also have to check sellers just to see who is regularly in. If they have not checked in within the last month, chances are the seller's probably inactive and you're going to have a bad deal. But you just got to watch and see who is active and who is selling good deals. So let's go ahead and check out the first outfit. And just by the way, literally all this is, I just typed in 100% wool sweater. So this is just wool, and cotton is usually even more affordable than this. Also, as a side note, beforehand, make sure to get all your measurements tested because you don't want to buy a piece and then have it be the wrong size. If the measurements are not listed here, usually the seller is very compliant. If you just leave a little comment saying, hey, what are the measurements? They'll usually tell you. And obviously, if they don't, that's a sketch seller. You really don't want to be doing business with them. But anyway, so first off, Club Room. You can see right up there on the tag, 100% lamb's wool. This is a 2XL, but again, the sizing, it's 23 inches in length. So this would be great, ladies, if you want like an oversized piece that's a little bit cropped. I think this one's perfect. Boom. $13 for that one. Up next, we have this really nice purple blue striped quarter zip, 100% Italian merino wool. Right there, down there in the corner, you can see this one's $8. And like I said, usually they'll list the measurements right here or they'll have pictures of the measurements. Just make sure to check that first. Another one for the men. This one right here, I would buy this if this was my size. Obviously, an extra small is not going to fit me. But again, this one is $8 and this is 100% merino wool. I love this. This is absolutely something I would wear, just saying. And then one more for the men, just so we can kind of get all the different sizes checked out. This one's a large, 100% wool, down there in the corner, $10. And sometimes you will see stuff like this, a couple small pulls in the back. Usually it's like little snags you can fix. That's another thing too. Just make sure there are pictures of the whole garment because you don't want to buy something and then have it be like covered in holes or something. But again, that's just part of thrifting. You always got to watch for stuff like that. But again, the whole point of this video is that it can be done. There is a process to it, but it can be done. Next, moving over to the ladies section, this bright pink piece is a statement, but it is 100% extra fine merino wool. That usually means it's on the softer side. $10. And right here's the whole piece. You can see pretty basic, but maybe that's what you're going for and you just want to pop a color. Right here's this one. Again, if it was in my size, I'd buy it. This is a beautiful like shawl collar, cardigan, jacket sort of thing. Really nice vintage print. So if vintage is what you're going for, this is perfect. Down here, 100% wool. It's a large. And the price on this one is a little bit more, but it's still under that under 40 rule that I said. It's 24, so that checks out. That's pretty good. Right here's this one. It's a beautiful flower top, really pretty. 100% merino wool, $25. Last but certainly not least on this list, this beautiful, again, vintage looking top. Again, if this was my size, I would wear it. 100% wool, $41. Now here is where I have another point to make about the price point. Under 40 is what I can get it for after this. So again, this is another thing on Poshmark. Try to get the price down as much as you can. It is a bit of a haggle process, but it's usually not hard. Just like the post, like the article of clothing, there'll be like little hearts that you can do, and usually the seller drops it down immediately. If they don't, you can also make an offer to them. And so like this one, 41, for me, I would probably even try 32 at first. Go a little bit lower than you want it. That way you can actually secure it at the price that you want. Because say you want it for 35 and then you offer 35 and the seller counteroffers with 37, they have that in their heads. However, if you start at 32 and then the seller goes up to 34, you just went under your budget. So that's kind of, again, another game you have to play in the world of thrifting. But once you get used to it and you know the ins and outs of it, it's usually pretty good. But again, you can probably get this top under 40. And of course, this video is just wool tops and wool sweaters. So obviously, you know, that's one specific category, but this applies across everything. I mean, if you guys want to see another video of like cotton sweaters or dress shirts or t-shirts or hoodies or jeans or something like that, obviously I can make that too, but I hope you kind of get the point that you don't necessarily have to pay an arm and a leg for this stuff. And in fact, I'd say that a lot of the stuff that I showed you looks like it's in great condition too. It's not that, oh, you spend less, but you get like ratty clothing. You know, you can get stuff like that. And occasionally you will even find stuff around that price point that's new with tags. And personally, when I see stuff like that, I jump on it immediately. But yeah, so again, just wanted to show you guys that it can be done. You just have to know how to play the game right.